guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Cheryl, and today I'm here to bring you a kind of different discussion video. I do a lot of discussions like 5 books that have been on my shelf the longest, 5 characters, blah blah blah, those kind of discussion videos, but this one is going to be centered around a topic I've seen floating around BookTube a lot, and that's, is it important to rate a book? And when I talk about rating a book, I mean kind of on the general like 1 to 5 star scale, 1 being absolutely hated it, 5 being absolutely loved it. So there's been a lot of discussion lately in the BookTube community, both on Twitter and on YouTube itself, about people deciding to give up Goodreads this year. And what I mean by give up Goodreads is they're not setting numeric bookish goals for themselves, they're not using the rating feature of Goodreads. I know some will leave actual reviews, but they're not going to use the star system anymore. And kind of going along this lines is the issue a lot of people have with Goodreads is the fact that like anyone can rate a book. You do not have to have read the book to rate it. For example, recently, or quite a while ago, I guess, a few months ago, spoilers got leaked for a book that had absolutely no arcs, or there was like very limited amount of arcs, so very minimum amount of people actually got to read this book, but somehow spoilers got out and people flooded this author's Goodreads page for the book with 1-star reviews based on the spoilers. They never read the book, but this book plummeted in rating. And so a lot of people as a result are just kind of like, I'm stepping back from Goodreads, I'm stepping back from it, because Goodreads itself is just defined as a social media platform for book lovers. As a result, it's not the most reliable. The star rating itself is inherently unreliable. I've seen some books on Goodreads specifically that I've absolutely adored, and they're like 2.5, maybe 3-star books. And I've read books that are like 4.5 stars, 4.75 stars on there, and they absolutely sucked. I hated those books. And the reason that it is inherently unreliable is the fact that a star rating can mean 2 different things to two different people. What I find to be like a 3-star book is just a very average book. It was alright, didn't hate it, didn't love it. But for other people, a 3-star book might be, I really enjoyed this book, and they reserve 4 and 5 stars for like absolutely phenomenal books. Whereas other booktubers that I've seen will give a 5-star rating to just about every single thing they read. And that's not saying that they didn't love the stuff they're reading, it's not really diversifying their ratings. And so every book they rate on Goodreads, they give a 5 stars, even if they have problems with it, which is fine. Everyone has their own way they rate books. But because there's no standard system, it's inherently unreliable, because everyone can put in their own rating for a book and have 2 completely different thoughts about it. So basically what I'm saying is 2 people can find a book absolutely average. It was alright, it wasn't bad, but one person might rate it a 2-star and one might rate it a 3-star, even if they felt the same way about it, because it really depends on what the star rating system means to the person rating it. Another reason that the star rating system is kind of inherently unreliable is expected to place a value, and you're expected to judge something that is inherently subjective. Reading is a very subjective thing. When I read a book, what I get out of the book might be entirely different than what you get out of the book, and that is the whole point of it. 2 people can come together and discuss a book and bring completely different ideas and completely different viewpoints to the table, and that's one of the things that makes reading and places like BookTube amazing, is you get to hear different thoughts about a book you may have loved or may have hated, but it is inherently a very subjective thing, and as a result, it is hard to place a rating on something that's subjective, because like I said, if I absolutely adored a book and I gave it a 5 stars, and you hate a book and you give it 1 star, is either of us wrong? No, because it's just an opinion. And that's the thing. Everyone is allowed to like or dislike what they want. And so when you place a numeric value on it, that's when it becomes difficult. If you look on Goodreads and you have a whole bunch of 5-star reviews and a whole bunch of 1-star reviews, and they've averaged out to a 3-star review, your first thought is, oh, I guess this book isn't that good. And for all you know, it could be your next favorite book. And like I said, it's a very subjective thing, and so it's really hard to place a value and place a rating on it when it is so subjective. This next part of the video, I'm going to talk about why I rate books the way I do and how I rate them. So personally, I rate books from a 1 to 5-star scale. At the end of the year on Goodreads, it averages out, you know, all of your ratings for the year, what's your average rating. It also, I think, on your profiles tells you your average rating that you give books. I personally like to look at that. I like to look at it and see what I give books on average, because I know what the star rating system means to me, and I know how I particularly rate books. So I think if an individual is doing it for that, that is fantastic. However, when I'm looking on Goodreads and when I'm looking at a book on Goodreads, I don't pay much attention to the star system because it is inherently unreliable. I prefer to look at the reviews themselves or to get the review and get opinions from booktubers that I trust, whose opinions I trust. Kind of going along with this is I expect people when they watch my reviews to take it with a grain of salt because, like I said, it's just my opinion. This is how I felt about a book, and this is a star rating I gave it as a result. You may not feel that way about the book, so I never want my ratings to keep you from reading a book because reading is so inherently subjective. What I may love in a book is something you may hate in a book, and vice versa. And so if I hate this trope and I give a book a lower rating as a result, well, maybe that trope doesn't bother you and that's a book you would rate higher. So always take my reviews with a grain of salt because, like I said, they're just my opinions. Overall, the way I personally rate books is I look at what I liked about the book and I look at what I didn't like about the book. And usually I look at this in list format. I have a little notebook here that I write all of my YouTube stuff in, whether it's book reviews, video ideas, tags that I need to remember the questions for, etc. And so when I'm reading a book, I, will write out the name of the book, write down all my thoughts as I'm reading it, and at the very end when I finish it, I kind of will gather it in my pro-con list, or just the things I like and the things I didn't like about the book. And then I'll kind of compare the two. And I compare what I've come up with on both lists to just the overall enjoyment I felt while reading the book, because the overall enjoyment actually takes precedence to me over my pro-con list, just because that can be very misleading. For example, the pro-con list that I had for the book review that just went up, My Dragons of Autumn Twilight, is this one. This is the things I liked about the book. This is the things I didn't like about the book. So you could have expected that review or my star rating for that book to be fairly low, maybe a 2-star. But no, I gave that book almost a 4-star because I had a lot of enjoyment while reading the book. And sometimes my pro list just consists of, I enjoyed this. And so that's not a thought I can really stretch out and in the way that I can with some of the things I dislike about the book, and so as a result sometimes that can be very misleading. And so I really try to remember, especially because I do these right after finishing the book, I try to compare it to the overall enjoyment I felt while reading, because if I felt that a book was problematic or I had some things I didn't like in it but I really did enjoy it while reading it, I won't give it as low of a star rating as I could have if I didn't like it while reading it, if that makes sense at all. So overall, I personally like to rate every book I read, whether it's on Goodreads or on my channel. That is just a way for me to keep track of and to figure out kind of my general ratings for things. As I said, I like to look at the end of the year and figure out how good of a reading year I had. I completely understand if the star rating has lost its meaning to you or if you don't abide by the star rating, because I understand. Because I know a lot of people this year are deciding to review books, but not necessarily rate them. They'll review them and then just kind of, this is my overall feelings as opposed to this is the numeric rating I get for the book. That is perfectly okay. I just review and rate books differently. Because I consistently rate my books in the same way, I know what the star rating system means to me, and that can be kind of difficult when you're going and watching a bunch of different booktubers and they all have a different way they rate books and the star system means something different to them. So this video is like super long and rambly and I don't even know if any of it made sense, so I'm gonna have fun editing this and I'm sure this is just a hot mess. But let me know down below your thoughts about the star rating system, people deciding to leave Goodreads, all of that, and yeah, let me know down below how you feel about all of that. Do you like to use the star system with your books? Do you not like to rate your books with such a concrete, numeric value? Just, yeah, let me know down below. As always, thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you all in my next video. Bye!